What is going on, everybody? My name is clutchsometimes, bringing you some power rankings once again for the UPA Week 6 this time. Once again, I'm joined by M Dragon,
How's it going, guys?
and we're just going to hop right on into it, starting at the bottom once again. Number 14 is the Bloomington Brearlooms. It's a close game. I was his opponent this week. That was fun.
Hey, that was a close game, yeah. Um, uh, I think B-Town played with that Jellison really
The
well.
Jellison
Yeah,
was a really good
yeah,
attack on his end.
it was a good bring, and it put a ton of pressure on you.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it even has like a grass type move to hit Gaster as well.
Yep, some funky rolls as well. Sully didn't do much.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the one thing that I was kind of like iffy about. Just Sally, it was supposed to be a sweeper, and kind of like brought it in kind of early.
mm-hmm.
Um, I can understand why he did it. He may have like wanted to weaken Moltank for Comfy, perhaps, or maybe like
Jellison
Rexel.
potentially as well.
Jealous, right? But I think Sully was probably his most reliable sweeper still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really scared of Celesteela in prep. Like, it could have done a lot of work. Um,
Yeah, it's capable of sweeping any team with the right kind of support. So like, uh, because of its coverage and just its natural bulk. Um, so like, I think if Beaton had saved that for later in the game, he would have had a much better chance of winning the game.
Definitely. Gligar getting that turn one crit was really unfortunate for
Right.
him.
Yeah, that was pretty sad for him as well.
He just couldn't get it in. Just like,
You I think you played with the Mega Venusaur pretty well. Like it pressured your team. You didn't have too much for it except Torn.
yeah, it definitely hinged on Torn, and he just every time he brought it in on just like the crocodile, the Rose Raid, just anything
Yep,
it forced a switch, and he played that really well.
exactly.
Yeah, the Jellison was just the Jellison was definitely the thing with that team. It was
Yeah, for sure.
no, I don't have much more to say here.
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, moving on here. 13. The Honolulu All Stars, both of them down there. Just a
Yeah,
really poor matchup for Link, honestly. Like,
it's a poor matchup for Link, and I feel like his prep wasn't just the greatest this week. Um, he didn't have a switch into outrage at all. He just have a Florges on the draft.
he doesn't have Zygarde answers. He does
Yeah,
his dark resists are like Florges, which is again non-exit. Around Gyarados is just not enough.
it's not great. Yeah, I think he should have brought Florges. In all honesty, like it could have given him, it would have stopped Jank from being able to click outrage for free.
Yep,
Um,
and just I did so much to drill.
right. Like Link just doesn't have anything to take an outrage. Like everything is just gonna like take a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The the bird thing, the Archeops was kind of nice for,
it was kind of nice. It
but
just
like it just didn't.
wasn't enough. It's kind
Yeah,
of like set up for Gyarados
exactly.
after he gets intimidated.
Yeah, I don't know, it just wasn't much there for Link.
Yeah, I think he had to like because it's tough because like weather sweepers can get overwhelmed by just like Zygarde is like kind of naturally able to tank the Charizard
Hmm.
and even the Arachnid. Um, Drill had a pretty good matchup, but it was just hard to get it in, have it do something.
Especially around especially with like T-Tar. If T-Tar were to come to my matchup, it potentially turns for a Zygarde, especially
Yeah,
or a Gyarados or something like that. Like, it's
definitely.
just so tough for him to deal with.
It's extremely hard for him to do it. And like he gets subbed up on by Gyarados as well.
And once he gets those, it's just
Yeah,
over from that point on.
I think I think he did a pretty decent job of not losing like, straight up to the Gyarados. Like, the regen, getting the Trick Room up, like he tried his best, but it just wasn't enough.
No, he didn't. He just didn't have the tools.
Yeah, it just didn't. Like Gyarados was too much.
All right, so moving on to our next match here. Talk about Dreamer and the APC Absols played Prof this week.
Yeah, I think Dreamer had some really cool prep. He brought Smeargle.
He did bring Smeargle. That was crazy.
Yeah, the psychic terrain.
Terrain Zam was
Zam.
super cool.
Yeah,
He like Toxic Protect, just like Blossom. The Lantern was kind of cool as well.
yeah. I think Dreamer did a really good job this game actually because his draft is really big to Keldeo. Keldeo clicking moves can like get a kill every time it comes in on this type of draft.
Yeah,
Like, without like proper defensive grass type to which they can do.
and like Blossom is Blossom, but like
Yeah,
it's not enough to
because
deal with Keldeo.
it's not enough. So like he put a lot of pressure on Profit Landers, just bringing it in on like
On I assume it's Banded Terrakion or like something
right.
like that. I couldn't tell from the damage, or they like did another spread on the Landers.
Right. The Dreamer just didn't have much for Mimikyu stab,
Yeah,
Ghost,
Mimikyu
and
was ridiculous, especially in the late game.
yeah,
Like just tore through Dreamer.
right. Just having that disguise up meant that Dreamer just couldn't kill it, and Prof did a really good job of making sure that disguise stayed up.
He probably played the Mimikyu like very well.
Yeah,
Just like he put it in at like the perfect time. Just like
exactly. Yeah, the Mimikyu just cleaned up that game. Like not much that Dreamer could have done, considering Dreamer's Ghost Resist was
a smear.
Hydreigon.
Oh, sorry,
And
Dragon.
Hydreigon doesn't really want to deal with this Mimikyu at all.
No, not at all. Yeah, Dreamer did what he could. He had a really nice prep. Well, he just
Yep.
it's not enough there for him.
Exactly.
All right. So moved on to our next match here. Talk about Rishmal and the California Kyogres played Medi this week, and he just felt like out of control of that match. Honestly, like
Yeah. I think Manny just kind of like had really good prep for him as well. That Metagross,
Metagross is
like really
nice.
good. Yeah. Rish was on and back from the lead because it's Lele versus Metagross. Like never wants to stay in there.
No.
He gets trapped again. Like his Swallow has been getting trapped all season, which is like really bad for him.
Yeah, as well as so useful on that team, and just hasn't been able to do anything.
Yeah.
He couldn't get he couldn't get very far with Manaphy as well. Like Scyther did a really good job of like dealing with it.
Absolutely.
Kind of surprising. Yep. But like
absolutely, and he also got caught by some really nice prep from Medi, like the
counter Nidoqueen was
yep, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. Just I'm assuming this Lele was Scarf from the
way he played it was Scarf.
Yeah. Yeah, the Scarf was just getting trapped by Metagross, being like forced to be locked in a move, and versus like Shadow Ball doesn't do anything to Scyther. Other moves don't do anything to Metagross.
Yeah.
And it was just a tough.
Like he could get in like Manaphy, like when he finally got Manaphy up on like a tail glow, like T-Spike was up, and he just had all these bad cases going on. Just couldn't deal with it.
Right. Exactly. Also, just like me and Shao being able to like beat his fairy type 1v1, just not something we want to happen.
Not at all. Like he just really struggled to get in, and like just really showed.
Exactly.
All right, so I think that's good there. Next match will be Frozen and the New York Red Bulls.
I think Frozen was very close to winning this game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was a 1-0 with like Raichu living in like
Hmm.
1%. So
Pretty much. Like he got a little bit unlucky towards the end as well, like with
he
Rhyperior missing the
he
edge.
certainly got unlucky. Missing like two edges in a row meant he couldn't get up his rocks.
Yep.
Um,
Which
I
rocks
think he
kept him in
played
that
the
game
early
essentially.
game incredibly well. Like I think the doggy sack was perfect because he
Yep.
didn't need it. Versus what Grano brought. Um, like it could have been nice for Aicho, but like as long as terrain's up, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Um,
The Subseed Whip Scout was really nice on his end, just wearing down like
right,
Kyoko, wearing down Raichu, wearing down like everything on
right.
his team.
Um, yeah, I think Mop put in a ton of work in the early game,
Yep.
and but I think Frozen. I think he realizes it himself is what that he needed to save Muck for the Raichu towards the end there,
Hmm.
because Muck would have been able to like deal with the Raichu like pretty much 100%. Like Raichu can't do too much to it. Um,
Yeah, like
I think
missing the opportunity on rocks was like the big thing. He
exactly.
needed the damage on Lexi. He needed the damage.
Yep,
He needed the damage on Lexi, and then he needed rocks, and he just didn't get it.
and yeah, those two things going his way could have completely changed the game.
The Raichu, like the standard Raichu, was like kind of cool. Like Z Electric
Yeah,
is
well,
kind of neat.
and the standard range. Yeah, that was really cool because like ground doesn't have much take the Z electric. Um,
Especially with like potentially terrain up on his side as
yeah,
well.
right. Yeah, it was a good bring. Just like he was like very close to winning. He was
Hmm.
it's just unlucky that he missed a couple stone edges there.
Yep. Yeah, it's been kind of just not Frozen season so far.
Yep. He's
There's
been
still
getting
time.
very on a ton of games and just like barely slips.
Yeah, people and his opponents have just been like taking it out. But like, yeah, it's tough so far for Frozen. He's got time, but like,
For sure, for sure. Everyone's got time. I don't think anyone's
no
mathematically down
one's
just yet.
no one's gone yet. Even B Town's still in it. We believe in you,
Yep.
B Town. So moving on here. Let's go. Let's go back to the. Let's go back to Jank. Just like, yeah. So let's go back to Jank.
All
You
right.
have him at 9. So I think
Right.
again, just like if this was a really solid game plan for Jank.
Yeah.
Just like
It was a solid game plan, and he played it really well.
Gyarados plus Zygarde like just doesn't handle Link's draft natural just doesn't handle both of them.
Exactly. Exactly. Jack took like perfect advantage of the fact that like doesn't have anything to take it outrage. Instead of clicking arrows, he just kind of like kept clicking outrage.
That was
Got a ton of damage off.
Bandit Zygarde. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Gyarados felt at the perfect time. Gyarados basically won this game for him. It got
Yeah,
like yeah, 3 or 4 kills. And, like,
yeah. Mega
it's a
Gyarados just
perfect.
being such a threat.
Oh yeah, it's a perfect showcase of what Mega Gyarados can do on like a on any team. Honestly, like if it's not properly taken care of.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a tough one to take care of as well. Just like
Exactly.
the dual stab is really nice and all that. So
Yep.
I think just like he got rocked with Cack, but like it wasn't much there.
Yep.
Like he really only
Uh,
needed like 3 or 4 mons in this game.
yeah.
Like
There's not much to say about this game because it was all about Zygarde and Gyarados. Like everything else didn't do much.
yeah, he didn't. I don't think he even brought out
Yeah.
Ambipom. Like
Yep. Yeah.
it was it was just Jank's offense just overpowering
Yep.
Link's
Exactly.
backbone. It just yeah, he had the matchup and he just exploited it pretty well.
Yep.
All right, so moving on to our next game here. We got Loli and the Copenhagen Cavalions. We played
Right.
Adam this week.
Um, I think Lily got slightly unlucky, but he also just couldn't deal with the hazards, and I think that was his biggest issue this
That's
game.
to me that's been kind of Lowly's downfall all season. It's just
Yeah,
hazards, hazards, hazards.
hazards. Like, he just couldn't deal with the rocks as well as the toxic spikes. When
Mm-hmm.
you've got both Arrow and Karam coming in on rocks, um,
Yeah,
not ideal.
I think Lowly's team had the threats to deal with Adams. Like Adams
Yeah,
just like
I
very
agree.
fat team, but like
Yeah,
he couldn't with like the hazard pressure. He just couldn't get them in properly.
yeah. Mostly just these toxic spikes were just pressuring Lolly way too much.
Yeah,
This Necrozma I think could have done a lot more work if it wasn't getting chipped every turn.
yeah, yeah. Because he's getting slowly more in the range of like Zygarde and
Yep.
like Blastoise, and yeah, eventually would
Yeah.
the
It was
Kabata.
a right. It was a really cool set with the grassy seed combine.
Yeah,
But the T spikes being up were just not good for him at all.
no, because he just slowly gets more in the range of everything
Yeah.
else. And,
Yeah.
did the I'm trying to figure out. I always try to figure that. I don't think the flinch necessarily mattered because I think Diancie was
Yeah.
still healthy enough.
I think Diancie was too healthy. I think Lolly would have still lost this game even if he didn't get on lucky. He did, which made it like worse for him and probably differential wise.
Yeah, because it would have been like a
But
3-0 instead of a 4-0. But
right. But I think he still like the pressure of hazards was still too much for him, I think.
because and also Arrow's at like 13, and like
Yep,
and
exactly.
Zygarde can come in and like pick it off as well. Like
Yep. Yep.
yeah, just hazards, hazards, hazards. Defog is a really good move, and
Yep. Uh, yeah, he just was on the wrong side of hazards this game.
yeah,
And Lolly couldn't get up any of his own hazards, which was bad for
it was
him.
only rock. You only brought like one, potentially one rocker and Arrow as well. Like
And I think Arrow was his rocker because Necro was CM.
yeah,
So
if you even brought rock, so yeah,
we also saw Lolly's own terrain working against him this battle because Nidoking came in. It was into KO range, but it recovered with the terrain and got back up to like 55.
So if he like terrain wasn't up, potentially we could have
Yeah.
to go on
Yep.
Nido. Yeah, just not a. It's just really interesting. I just find that really interesting with Lolly's team. Just like doesn't have like
Yeah, for sure.
it's really centered on like Empo to like remove hazards and like obviously Empo didn't have matchup, so he just
Right.
can't remove really without. He's like defog Arrow.
Exactly. And Defog Arrow was just not great.
No. Moving on to our next little slide here. I'm just gonna talk about. I think we talked about both our number 8s because they were like our alternate number
Right.
9s. So talk about Gassy and the Stinky Psyducks in what I'm pretty sure is the longest game turns wise in UPA history.
Oh, that's nice to be a part of. Yeah, it was a very well prepped game from Gassy.
Yeah, definitely.
Hayes was amazing. Tundi with the sludge wave was amazing. McKinney, even though I have 2 really good fire resist, he realized that V-Create just puts a ton of pressure on my team. Like, other than both my fire resists, everything else will pretty much get one shot by V-Create.
Yeah, pretty much. Clef, like Mellow.
Yeah. Yep. That was a great bring. I think he pressured me extremely well with the Tundi, and I think he played around Suicune beautifully because I think my Suicune was my only way of winning this game, and he just played it beautifully, and credit to him.
Yeah, definitely. I think he denied like a lot to like, and he denied most of anything that dropped him really early. Like, and the Thunder was obviously this played like really really well.
Right. He made a couple of really good predictions early on.
The yawn on
Yawn was fantastic.
Was really really cool. Because
it was really cool.
Being super passive necessarily.
Yep. Yep. Um, yeah, it was just good prep, and uh, I think Tundi just being able to put a ton of pressure on me because I don't have a switch into it,
No.
and like my whole roster will get two shot with Tundi at the very least.
Yeah,
Um,
Thunder's just one of those Pokemon. It's like really, really good in the
yeah,
right hands.
exactly. He's been using it really well. Um, I like how he recognized that Como doesn't do much, and he kind of like sacked it to Seiken to kind of like uh, use some PP as well as
Mm,
just figure out what I want to do with Seiken. But he always had that Milo in the back, which was always going to be my.
yeah, especially with like with Hayes not being affected by pressure as well. Like that just
Exactly.
yeah, just
I guess we can move on to me because I'm right next to Cassie.
yeah. So I can just keep talking here.
Yep. Yeah, I think my mistake this game is just in prep itself, just not realizing that the whole Seikun versus melodic interaction, um, it's like melodic being able to recover 16 times as opposed to 8 times is like huge.
Mm-hmm.
And Haze as well. And me not having a way to deal with this Tundi as well as yeah, I think Milo and Tundi was probably my biggest issues. Yes, Victini was a huge threat, but it had limited moves because of pressure, and both my guard chomp and Seekin could take it on like relatively okay.
Yeah, um, I think your early game was just like not that great. I think
Yeah,
like
my early game was not great. I knew I had to sack something to the Tundi
mm,
because it was going to kill at least one thing no matter what.
yeah,
And I let it be Crobat because I thought at that time my Crobat would be the least useful member. Um, because the Ribombe was already poisoned
yeah,
and it was getting kind of low. Um, so yeah, it was a tough game I think for me as well. Just
yeah,
having to deal with Tundi, and I had no way of killing Melodic at all on my team. I
yeah,
don't have an electric type. My grass type is a Gourgeist.
yeah. Melodic poses a lot of problems, dude. So like and like Vincun can like 1v1 a lot. Some bulky waters, I guess like Haze Melodic is not one of them.
It is absolutely not one of them, and I
It
think a
would
lot
I
of
think it would have potentially with like T spikes. I think yeah,
yep. It may have been able to. I think it would have still been tough, but just because of him having wish support as well. And
mm-hmm.
Aldino, he could just switch out constantly in region, all that help. And there is no limit to how much you can switch out.
Yeah, with regen and all that. And he's only
Yeah,
getting that 12% on poison turns every time.
yeah. I think it would have still been hard for me to win.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, just Milotic just being a huge,
Huge
unkillable
nuisance.
thing.
That thing is so terrifying.
Yeah, Milotic it's a great mon, and like it's very hard to kill, and it shows.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving back up the list here, um, go back to a match we talked about previously, and do the and to talk about Medi here in the Southbound Virus. You just
Right.
I have Medi at 6. You have him at 5, and Medi played this match so well. Like
Many players match so well, and I know that he's 3-3, but
he should
I
be
think
4-2, I think, but like
it's not just that. I think he's been playing a lot better than his record actually
mm-hmm.
like shows. He's been having some really good prep and like really like good play as well, and just the strength of his draft has really shown this season. I feel.
strong. You get this like it's just such a strong draft. You're right. It's
Yeah,
just Metagross has been kind of the key, the cornerstone of his team so far.
absolutely, absolutely. Him being able to win such an important game, even without bringing Kieran Black, just shows that it's not to rely on Kieran Black,
Mm-hmm.
as well as just Scyther just being a fantastic just pivot. That
Scyther has
there's
been really fantastic for him as well. Like
yep,
so bulky with the Violet,
yep.
and
He didn't bring his yeah for sure. He didn't even bring his whole Rotom Wolfson into Kieran Black this game, and he still was like was very successful
mm-hmm.
with the team he brought.
Scyther just shown how bulky it is as well, being able to take on Manphy as well as it did.
absolutely. It's even able to take on like Lele without a boosting item.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
I
got
think
like
Medi
pseudo sort of like cross pseudo 1v1 the Registeel, like just
absolutely.
knocked it down, knocked it off, like just did so much for him.
The counter was really cool. Yes, the acro was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Metagross is being able to trap multiple things, like ideal situation for him.
Metagross was really
Yeah.
good. Like that's something
I
really
think
nice to
the
see.
only thing he could improve on is like his usage of the ants. He has not been great.
No, it got damage off on Manaphy, and that was about all it did.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, because the NC and potentially like Kikurum could just put so much pressure on like a team steel type
exactly.
matchup. Like, and that's
And
like
having that
Reggie
splatter is
just couldn't handle it as well. Like, it took it eventually, but like,
Reggie just being like a really free such infinite queen for the most part.
yeah, pretty much because like, it was wave and
Yeah.
toss and all that. And, like, it just
Yep.
eventually was gonna like fall to it.
Yep.
Yeah. So moving on back to our number 4 spot here. I guess it's me and the and my team, the Kansas City Kingdras. So
Right.
yeah, B-Town played this match really well. I'm gonna give him full credit. I was so scared. um,
I think you pressured him with the torn really well.
Torn had a good matchup, and like if I could deal with like Sally and Rai, and he gave me Sally early, and like
Right. I think the only thing I can think of is like maybe you could have brought in Gallade a bit earlier, maybe on a double.
potentially,
Oh,
yeah, I thought Galate was
but
like super important, and like I didn't want to like risk it potentially, and like
right, right, makes sense. I mean, you could have brought it in
on
maybe
like
on the
Ven
but yeah,
especially.
yeah, for sure. Because Gallade put a ton of pressure on his team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been noticing it. So I keep I have this thing with Galate. I just don't bring it in when I don't bring it in for some reason.
I think he did the same thing versus Prof as well.
Mm-hmm. I have this big scary Galate. I don't feel like bringing it in until it's like
It makes
almost too
sense.
late.
It makes sense because you want to be able to preserve it for just to be able to like clean up games. So
Mm-hmm.
just put a ton of pressure without taking any unnecessary damage.
Yeah, the Jellicent was like terrifying, but I think I play Sax and that was interesting. Miltank did
I
some
really
solid.
like the pursuit play from you.
Oh, that was so nice. If it, I felt like if I could pursue Raikou, I could free up my Torn.
Yep, exactly. That was a great play. Just being able to get your rocks up the whole tank to keep the pressure on Big Ten.
Miltank did a really nice job of getting rocks, unlike
Yep.
Miltank. Oh, not Miltank, Venusaur, and
So yep.
I can keep pressure on Raikou with like U-turn and yeah, and, well, like I kind of like that. I was trying to. I'm gonna explain my end game real fast because I think definitely like knowing what I know about Beatdown's team, knowing what I know about like the company being specs was like is like
All right.
in the late game was different, but like I was assuming it might have been CM, so I switched out
Yeah,
assuming it might have been like
that makes perfect sense because if it's a bulky config, it could potentially take a hit and
exactly.
it could heat him up and heal up all the way. And yeah, that would have been a huge problem for you.
Yeah, but if had I known it was because that was the first time I think its first turn attacking me was like him
Right.
nailing Rosary in the switch.
Right, right with the history fire. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
you
I didn't know the damage yet. So like I guess like
yeah,
better play would have been like
makes
torn, but like I was still worried
makes
about
sense.
it being CM.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think you played around the comfy really well. Just Rosary just being able
Comfy
to
was terrifying in prep, honestly.
yeah, for sure. Because even though you do have Rosary, like it's pretty pressured this game.
Mm-hmm. It has to
Um,
kill a lot of things.
yeah,
Rosary like I could have brought Blade, but Blade's matchup was like kind of awkward as well.
yeah, it's kind of odd for sure.
Blade's an odd mon. I don't. That's not. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
In the end, just Rosary being able to tank that head for you. And
Yeah,
it
natural
was a,
special bulk was pretty good.
exactly. It was a very close game, but I think you played it, especially like the early game as well as the end game, really well.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to our top three here, making his putting himself into the top three for the first time. The Akron Alakazams, coached by Adam.
I thought the hazard stack from Adam was amazing.
Yeah, that was
he put a
really
ton of pressure on Lolly.
yeah, just T spikes, rocks, just like forcing him to switch in his threats and take that chip.
Yep. Yep, for sure. I think he did the same thing, which is like gassy early in the season,
Yeah.
just hazards and momentum. Yeah, his and the road just well switching.
Yeah, Adam's draft has been like really playing to his style really well. I think
For sure.
just like he has
Rock polish, Balayan.
Zygarde got a couple. Zydog got the kill on like Infernape. That's like
Yep.
she didn't like necessarily deal with very well. Like
Right. He made a couple of key doubles. He brings in. Hold on. He brings in the Zydog on the Infernape, and then doubles
right
into
back out. Yeah.
Either that was a call on the Bulu, or it accomplishes two things. It catches Lolly if he goes into Bulu, and it also catches him.
Scarf.
Yep, exactly. That was a very good play. Just being able to get his T spikes up instead of killing his ape. Just a great play overall.
He played that really well. Like yeah, like and he played around the Necrozma paint split on Rotom was really really great for that as well. Like
exactly, as well as just his usage of Mega Blast. I think has been great.
He's really enjoying that. He's been telling me like,
yep.
he just had all the pieces to deal with the stuff, and he had it kind of
absolutely.
And like Lolly just like couldn't handle the T spike. Like
absolutely,
one was all he needed.
He played around his Z Bulu really well. I think Rodman's been putting a ton of work for him as well. Just this natural, really nice defensive typing.
Speak to Rocks, he's been handling that pretty well with like between Blastoise and
absolutely. And him just not having rocks on his side, just didn't let that arrow come in and get up rocks.
Yep,
just made his life so much easier this game.
Definitely, I think that was just, and like once he just like got the Cobalion in and like got himself a rock polish, he just like started flinching down the Cobalion.
And I don't think those flinches really matter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Kofat.
Yeah, and like the flinch on arrow doesn't necessarily matter. Once you got the one, you got the one damage and the pre-dozen rate of what I assume was Banded Zygarde.
Yep.
And Eastman just picks it off from that range.
Yeah, Zygarde is pretty much like always banded, so I think that's fair to assume.
Yeah, so it's just a pretty solid, pretty safe game from Adam.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on. All right, we have two different number ones this week. Let's talk about Granito very quickly.
I still have him at number one. I think he played it. I think he played it well. He did get a bit lucky. He was yeah, he could have easily lost to that monk, but again, another week where Mandibus saves him potentially.
Mandibus has been so good for him.
Yeah, it did get poisoned, but even with the poison, yeah, I think he would have just like straight up lost to the monk if he didn't like have Mandibus being able to like stop monk like halfway in its tracks.
Like he just had the pieces and like he got kind of tried to wear it down with Gren, but like, and then like eventually it was just all Mandibus, just like taunt, wearing it down, wear it down.
He couldn't get any burns either with the Scald.
That was unfortunate, but
yeah,
it was 30%, I guess.
The Z dig was cool, but Mok was cursed, so it wasn't enough to take it out. But I assume Grano's plan was to lure the Mok, take it out with Z dig, and then have Raichu kind of like go to work.
Yeah, Raichu was really good in the matchup, and he definitely recognized it. Seeing like he played around, he kind of like didn't have like a ton to play around the Whimsicott with, just like Delmine's being so chipped.
Right, just being able to use the natural momentum of this draft and kind of like switch around to break the sub. That's probably like the best way to play around the sub, other than like sub. ignoring abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So he played around the Whimsicott, which should have potentially lost him a ton of momentum.
Yeah, and he just did it. He did it pretty well. And
Had a couple of good switch into low putting, which otherwise like would have destroyed him
yeah,
his whole draft.
Uxie's super fat, and
Yeah,
Manibus as well is also super fat.
exactly. Um, Not bringing a team week to Dougie, good prep.
Yeah, that's definitely not an easy thing to do when you have
Exactly.
when you have two electric types
Then
as
you have
well.
two
Like,
electric types as well as Nihilego,
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something that's like
as well as Zardex. By the
yeah,
way.
he has like it's like main crux of his team is like weak to Dougie.
Yeah, exactly. So he just had like solid prep, and I think he's been using his team really well, especially
Yeah,
Mandibus and Greninja.
yeah, Gran's been really good for him. As much as like Medi like hates it for some reason, but, like, I think it's been really solid for him. Just like
Absolutely, especially the hazard stack, the
mm-hmm.
taunt, scald,
Yeah,
all that stuff.
standard Greninja things. Yeah, definitely. I always have him at 2. I think because he got a little bit lucky. And I think Prof's
Yeah,
game was a little bit cleaner. That was my that's my reasoning.
makes sense.
So talk about number one. Talk about our last team here. My last team, your second team. Prof.
Tough. Um,
He, he played kind of Dreamer definitely gave him like a really tough game.
Absolutely, I don't think it was an easy game at all for Prof. Smeargle, first time he brings it, I don't think any of us were expecting Smeargle.
Counter Smeargle was wild.
Tracheon.
Mimikyu, once he got it in, like Tracheon was a problem.
Tracheon is always the problem. Prof has, like potentially one of Tracheon's best switch-ins in all of ones. Lander's T, being able to just intimidate, take not too much from Stone Edge, you turn out type of thing.
He gave him some momentum around that.
Prof being able to defog, get rid of the web is pretty important. Skuntank once again putting in a ton of work.
Skuntank's been fantastic.
It has been not per se trapping this time, but with the toxic.
And just wearing down Dreamer's team, especially.
Makes a couple of doubles early on to get up his rock to Drodagon. I think he could have played.
He could have played Keldeo a little more aggressively, potentially.
Exactly. That's just what I was going to mention. I think he could have played Keldeo a bit better. But other than that, I don't really.
He got it in like later on, and it started. He just like clicked a bunch of buttons and killed some stuff. And like and then sets up for Mimikyu in the back just to like click SD and win the game.
Drodagon once again being able to like paralyze Blossom, just toxic stuff, be annoying and hard for Dreamer to kill.
Really fat. It's kind of hard to kill like that.
Like Dreamer was forced to bring in like Lantern on it instead of like something else because he couldn't like kill it in one hit.
And he didn't want to risk like his like too big, his like big strong like Zam, Terrakion on Glare.
Exactly, just Glare just being a fantastic move. Ground types are not immune to it. Only electric types are.
Yeah, so he's like has to go like hard Lantern, like struggle to kill it.
Yep.
Yeah, like the second terrain, the PT was like cool from Dreamer, but he still has to take a turn to like take Disguise out. So like
to take Disguise out, yeah, it was a really good end game for Mimikyu and Prof. I think this is like a good showcase of how Mimikyu is supposed to be played. Everything's like chipped down, like in Mimikyu's range.
Mimik's like super one-dimensional, but it's like something that's so hard to deal with. I think
it is extremely hard to deal with because it always has that Disguise coming in. So like, if
you have to like punish it.
It can always get up in SD if you can't like taunt it or something like that.
Yep. All right, so that'll do it. I guess that'll do it for us here.
Yeah, sounds good.
We're a little bit late, but it's gonna go up. So we'll catch you guys all next week, hopefully. So, peace.
Yeah, see you next week.